Upland, A Journey Through Time and the Hills by Ian Crofton. The idea for this book emerged during the first year of the pandemic. In the autumn of that year, in a brief lull between lockdowns, I was walking with an old friend in the Chiltern Hills. It was a day of sunshine and showers. The leaves were turning to golden rust, and to the west, great clouds were billowing in over the plains of Oxfordshire. We were talking about books, in particular, what I was going to write next. I was sounding out my friend with various new ideas relating to history and landscape and nature. "Why not draw on all your imagined experiences," he said, "all those years of hill walking and climbing? How about you wandering among the hills, contemplating all the things that had happened in the hills in the past, all those people who'd been there before you?" It turned out to be the perfect project as restrictions tightened up again and all our horizons shrank. If I couldn't walk or climb among the hills, I could look back on them, reimagine them, interrogate them. I saw myself as something like an archaeologist of the mind, burrowing down through layers of memory into my own past, exploring the lives lived by others among the uplands long ago. Who had worked there, suffered there, died there? Who had wandered in wonder among them? And how did that past inform my present, inform all of our futures? Sometimes the connections operated through the iron chain of geological or economic determination, sometimes through image and dream, resonances as ungraspable, as irresistible as the wind. Just as we humans have our ways of being, so do hills and mountains. But theirs is a very different way of being, one spread over eons of time, seemingly changeless and inert, but in fact active, ever becoming, building upward as the plates of the earth's crust shift, diminishing as wind and water and ice break them down again. We may sometimes see human or animal features in the shapes of hills: limbs, sinews, veins, breasts, backs, shoulders, shins. This anthropomorphism recognizes that hills exist in the present not as eternal fixed forms, but as mutable entities, as mortal as humans, albeit existing over vast expanses of time. What we see are single film frames of imperceptibly slow geological processes that interconnect with a much quicker living world that cloaks the hills. Mosses, grasses, fungi, flowers and trees, butterflies, moths and birds, lizards and frogs, voles and hares and deer and humans, all growing, dying, decaying, regenerating, flickering in the blink of a mountain's eye. Plants and non-human animals all have their ways of being, though we can do little to know them beyond describing them in our own terms, deploying the terse, precise metaphors of science. The exception is the human, our own way of being, but even that, in its many manifestations, takes leaps of imagination to approximate, especially if one is looking back into the past. In pondering this book, I had a sense that walking or climbing over the hills, as I had done all my life, might provide a physical frame for my imagination to work within, perhaps releasing some fraction of the essence of the lives lived in those places long ago. Placing my feet, swinging my legs, taking a breath, lifting an arm, grasping a handhold, as many had done in the past, such efforts might present an almost physical link with those who had been there before. The relationship of people with the hills through time has been complex, rich and varied, from awe and wonder to fear and loathing, to spiritual longing or peaceful acceptance. Hills have been sites of worship, spaces of elemental hostility, places where people have found ways to live amid harshness, their being shaped by the shapes of the hills, the wind and the rain, a passing glimpse of sunshine on a summer's day. As I began to retrace my own walks and climbs over the decades, I became more and more aware that I had been following in the footsteps of the dead. Neolithic axe makers high on the Langdale pikes, legionaries marching the Roman road along the ridge of High Street in the Eastern Fells, Mercian warriors guarding Offa's Dyke down the spine of the Welsh marches. Later came the miners and quarrymen, the shepherds and the drovers, the poets and painters, the geologists and botanists, seeking profit or inspiration or enlightenment. More recently, people came to the hills simply to refresh their bodies and their minds by testing their muscles and their nerves in high places, places that raised them above the gloom and graft of their daily lives. For the hills are beyond all else places that unleash the spirit, sharpen our sense of beauty and potential, even as we pant up their flanks, struggle through sleet and storm, gaze through space as ridge recedes behind ridge into an ever-enticing, unfocused, far horizon.